you see the pro days turning into little NFL mini studio setups, the traveling road show for the Carolina Panthers as they're trying to find their next franchise quarterback. It's Darin Gantt, Panthers.com. Are you already in Kentucky? Did you teleport from Alabama's pro day to Will Levis's pro day for tomorrow, Darin?
No, I did not. This is so big. We put together 2 strike forces to cover this event.
Hold up. Are you on a scout team? Are you on the advance committee?
Yeah, I'm like the red team. I had Ohio State, and I'm in Kentucky right now.
All right.
We sent the blue team to Alabama and to Florida next week. So this is huge news. You've got to cover it right.
Darin Gantt, Panthers.com, joining us. And Darin.
And by the way, this may or may not be related to your previous point, but the facilities at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center with a lot of stuff named after, the problematic Les Wexner. Don't Google that one from your work computer if you want to be careful. So we can get into that at another time.
Darin Gantt, Panthers.com, joining us. Now, look, I'm going to ask you this question because we're friends, and I'm not trying to put you in a bad spot and endanger your employment.
Thanks for that. That's how you can tell somebody cares about you.
I do care about you, okay? That being said, in all your years of covering the NFL and being around the Carolina Panthers, I do find the show kind of amusing. I'm not saying that Frank Reich and Scott Fitterer and the 20 other people that are with the Panthers, including you, aren't doing the homework. But I do feel like this has really taken on a show. Has it not?
I think, projecting an impression of competence and projecting an impression of thoroughness can't necessarily be a bad thing for where they are right now. I mean, they're trying to steer out of a 5-year skid. And it happened because the last time they went looking for a coach, they did it kind of quickly. They got charmed by one guy in particular and made a bad decision. And so this time, I mean, to me, this entire tour is an extension of what they did with coaching searches. I mean, Frank Reich was one of 9 guys to interview for the head coaching job. I know that there were a couple of position coach jobs that they were interviewing 6, 7 guys for. So there is at least a commitment to going through the proper steps, to doing the thing as thoroughly and accurately as you can. And then if you make a mistake, you can at least say, listen, we didn't make a mistake because we got charmed. We didn't make a mistake because we went off emotion. We made a mistake because something didn't work out. I mean, this could always not work out, but it's at least an honest effort at doing the thing right. And as, somebody who grew up in newspapers and doing shoe leather reporting for a living, I can respect it.
Darin Gantt, Panthers.com, joining us here on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. That's Joe Avius. I'm Joe Giglio. All right, Darin, I suspect most of these decisions are made on actual game tape, but what do you think would come in second in terms of value? Would you say the interviews with the actual players themselves, the interviews with their coaches, or even potentially maybe even down the line there, how they perform or how you see them perform in their pro day?
I think pro day performances, these guys out there throwing against air to the guys they've known for years and well-scripted, and well-choreographed workouts, that's probably the least important part of this. And for instance, last night, was it a week ago? I can't remember anymore.
All days run together.
Yeah, I mean, a couple nights ago in Columbus, Ohio, they go out to dinner with C.J. Stroud. And C.J. said yesterday after his workout, he's like, we really didn't talk all that much football. We talked about things I value, things I grew up with, things that are important to me. He said he described it as kind of a getting to know you situation. And at 2.5 hours, that's a pretty substantial first date. And, I do think that they wanted to use that. And I know a lot of people probably react to the visuals when Dave and Nicole Tepper are there saying, hey, what are these people doing with a football decision? Let your football people make it. Ultimately, they're the ones in charge. I think the thing that kind of resonates with me is when C.J. Stroud sits down at a table, if it's a table of 12, for instance, there's a Dave and Nicole Tepper, but there's also over 200 years of offensive football knowledge in Jim Caldwell and Frank Reich and Josh McCown and Thomas Brown sitting there with him too. So I think it's an effort in talking to those guys, kind of seeing how they tick. And I don't know, maybe they're judging them on what they order. By the way, according to Panthers.com, C.J. Stroud had the sea bass while Bryce Young went for the scallops last night.
I see. Oh, well, but here's the thing.
The kind of
but Darin,
you can only get in one place, let me tell you.
Panthers.com. Darin Gantt, Panthers.com, joining us here on the OG alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies. Okay, well, about that, Young Gravy, please pull up the clip of Josh McCown telling C.J. Stroud that they're going to find a court to play horse on when he lives in Charlotte. Here's the clip, Darin. Hot mic.
We'll find a court. Play some horse.
It's right here. Come on.
Okay. Well,
no, I got to do a little meeting.
We'll find a horse. All right. See you, buddy.
Now I'm going to take his money.
I'll be taking money. That sounds like a decision's been made, Darin. They're already talking about courts.
Oh, of course. Yeah, and I'm sure there were no similar conversations that weren't captured on hot mics with Bryce Young, nor will there be similar conversations
today
with Will Levis.
Today, Darin, Steve Smith did say on NFL Network Plus that, hey, you're the guy. And Bryce Young's like, that means a lot coming from you. So if Steve Smith says it, well, then clearly that's the case too, right? And
obviously.
So this is what I'm getting at. We do this. I do this. We do this, and I love it. I love how we convince ourselves of things.
No question. And it happens in the journalism business too. I had a friend in the business who contended, it tells me something that the Panthers are sending you to Ohio State and Augusta to Alabama. I was like, of course, yeah. We certainly didn't make that decision based on flight schedules and who was available later.
No, Darin. No, Darin.
It's all a big signal. And the fact that I was in Ohio and now I'm in Kentucky, what does it mean? We're just out here covering the news. It's you're going to get a lot of that, and there will be a lot of hype tomorrow. And I anticipate that tomorrow's reaction is going to be, why are all these people wasting their time at Will Levis's pro day? There's no way he's going to be the guy. Well, you don't know that. You don't. I mean, you've got to investigate these guys, stack them up, do an apples-to-apples comparison. I mean, 3 days in a row, I think seeing Will Levis and putting him through the same paces gives you an opportunity to know how C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young measure up in comparison to another guy who's going to be a first-round pick.
I hate it, Darin, when a college guy we get used to changes his numbers in the pros. Like Cam Newton wore 2 at Auburn, then he shows up at Carolina, wears number 1. Please tell me C.J. Stroud's still going to wear number 7.
Jimmy Clausen had 2, so you couldn't go there. You can mess with that.
Yeah, you missed my joke there. So please tell me C.J. Stroud still wears number 7 when he gets to Charlotte.
Who's in 7 now? I can't even remember. That's Shaq Thompson. He can't take Shaq.
They can negotiate that.
So 7. No, he can't be 17. Is that retired? The Del Homie?
No, there's only one retired number in Panthers franchise history. That's 51.
Okay.
So, and don't even get me started on that, because teams should absolutely stay out of that business because you start running out too fast.
Sure.
Because people get emotional about that stuff.
They do.
Time will tell us what's the right number to retire.
Darin.
No, I think Shaq's probably pretty secure in 7. Now, Matt Corral in 9? That one's probably a little more flexible.
All right. Well, we're reporting based on Darin Gantt's comments that Matt Corral will be moved by the draft. Please,
or maybe move to a different number.
Maybe. No. That's what I'm inferring, Darin. Credit 99.9 the Fan.
Who is available now? You never know.
Darin Gantt, Panthers.com, joining us here on the OG alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies. Okay. We'll close on this. Have you been impressed with the way Frank Reich can be asked all sorts of questions that are trying to get him to tip his hand, and he has handled it masterfully?
Oh, yeah. Frank's been through this before. And again, this is going to verge on becoming a cliche at a certain point. But the word I keep using accidentally and conversationally to describe working around these guys is adult.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know the easiest thing in the world is to bag on the last guy who's here, and this isn't anything to do with Matt Rule and people he brought in to help. But I keep looking across that table, and, again, we ran a chart with one of the stories about Frank's staff, and, with the latest additions, they're over 200 years of NFL head coaching experience, or NFL coaching experience, plus another 75 years worth of playing. They've got people who have gravity now. And that helps through this process. I mean, is Frank going to give anything away until it's time to give something away? Of course he's not. I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's been through this before. And he's probably, I think there's a measure of gratitude on his part to be able to go through this kind of process because he never really got to do this in Indianapolis. I mean, once Andrew Luck retired on him, I think he was forced into a situation where he was constantly just kind of making do and never having this kind of opportunity. So I think they're enjoying it, and they're enjoying getting to know these guys. These are football guys, so they're in the ultimate football guy environment here for the last couple of days, and they kind of dig on that for sure.
Darin Gantt, Panthers.com. All right, so when you're done with Kentucky, what's next? Where are you going after that?
Let's see. I go home for a couple hours, and then I get on a plane to go to Phoenix for the owners' meetings.
Oh,
Big stuff happening next week out in Phoenix, of course. We'll be out there documenting that for Panthers.com. And while I'm on my way back from Phoenix, we'll have the young and talented Augusta Stone reporting live from Gainesville next Thursday when they do this all again for Anthony Richardson.
Well, I'm going to read into the fact that you're not going to be in Gainesville. All right. And that's what I'm reading into.
Yeah, of course. And that has nothing to do with I'm tired and don't want to fly back across the country.
No, it has nothing to do. Context does not matter here.
I'm sure they're making all of their decisions based on Darin's
travel schedule. No, absolutely.
I do want to know, though, off the air, Darin, like, who are you in charge of calling? Because I used to have people in the NBA draft call me and be like, hey, what was this guy like? Because you laugh, but when you have a pick like that and you're about to give them millions of dollars, you uncover every stone. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't surprise me if Darin's got one of those jobs.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just out here reporting. Now, did I talk to staffers at Ohio State yesterday who may have grown up in Charlotte and had ties to the community and work for the Buckeyes now? I did.
Yeah.
That's just shoe leather reporting. That's all I've ever really known in my career.
That's Birkenstock leather reporting, Darin. All right, Darin.
It's almost that time. Those will be in the bag for that Phoenix trip.
Hell
Not
yeah,
necessarily
man.
for Kentucky tomorrow.
Darin Gantt, Panthers.com. Appreciate the time. We'll talk to you later. Safe travels.